Hello and welcome to the table, Baldurs Gate and DND friends. Have a seat, grab your favorite drink, and settle in for a unique modded character build and subclass of the Barbarian, Path of the Storm Herald. This will be a winter and holiday theme build I like to call the Angry Santa Claus, with a fun thematic focus on role-playing the angry Saint Nick who's coming for all the D&D enemies on his naughty list. Yeah, I know this is a joke character, but also this is a genuine modded class showcase too. This episode will be going through all 12 levels of Path of the Storm Herald subclass of the Barbarian. Huge credits to the mod author, Nitro. Hope I pronounced your name right, friend, because you're quickly becoming one of my favorite mod authors on the Baldurs Gate Nexus. Nitro has put the time and effort in bringing this class from the 5th edition tabletop to Baldurs Gate, utilizing the game mechanics to get as close as possible to the actual class. Now, something to note is that this is technically a lore-friendly class, as it does exist within the realm of 5th edition D&D, especially with the features and the tenets of this class, which seamlessly fit well into the world. Also, here's some important information from the mod author themselves before you get into trying out the class for yourselves too. This is a slightly homebrewed version of the 5th edition Barbarian subclass Path of the Storm Herald. The primary differences and notes are: level features squished a bit for Baldurs Gate from 3, 6, 10, and levels 14 to levels 3, 6, 9, and 12. Renames the storm effects from Desert, Sea, and Tundra to Firestorm, Thunderstorm, and Snowstorm. Storm aura elements are able to be chosen after long rest rather than on leveling up. The level 6 Storm Soul feature in 5th edition has things that aren't relevant for Baldur's Gate 3, like underwater breathing, so some of those features are modified, replaced, or moved entirely. The level 12 Level 14 in 5th edition damage is flat rather than part of your barbarian level. So for all of you D&D lore and D&D game aficionados out there, yes, there are a few tweaked things from the tabletop class to fit the game, mainly because, well, video games in general are sometimes limited with the scope of mechanics, but I genuinely think the mod author really did their best to get as close as possible to the actual class. Now, for those viewers who are new to the channel, one of my main focuses for videos is creating unique Baldur's Gate 3 characters using mods both for enhancement and roleplay purposes, specifically giving you different types of replayability. Now, if that's something you are really into, I would love to hear your personal favorite character builds in the comments below, and let's get a very in-depth discussion going on what characters you would specifically build this class around, what you would multi-class it with, or completely different and out-of-the-blue character requests too. Also, side note, I also do have videos of narrative-driven Total War Warhammer campaigns, both of modded and non-modded factions, to show and tell unique stories of each of the individual leaders. It's more of a side project thing for me, but if you love talking shop about character builds or epic story-driven war campaigns in the Warhammer universe, consider hitting the like, subscribe, and bell icon notifications for more unique adventures like that. Also, for the new viewers out there who may have stumbled only on this video, the way we will structure this character build is going through the starting level first with specific choices in race and other beginning features, levels 2 through 12, and then wrapping up with specific gear and equipment to complement the build in terms of roleplay or improving stats or spells. Now, when it comes to character builds, I do mainly stick with choices, abilities, and spells and equipment that suit the characters thematically, keeping in line with the modded class and what the mod author themselves had in mind. Yes, on some of my other previous videos, I do slip into choosing very strategic choices or min-maxing damage output, but for this video, I will try to stick to the theme of Santa Claus, or getting as close as possible to the Jolly Man himself. But at the same time, I am aware that in my community, and of course in the D&D and Baldur's Gate communities, there's players who really stick with role-playing, and then there's players who really stick with min-maxing and number-crunching damage output. But just as long as you yourself are having fun with the modded classes and build showcases, that's what matters in the end, regardless of whichever camp you fall into. Now, the reason I'm going through all 12 levels only as the class alone is to really showcase everything there is to offer, and this is my personal way of really genuinely saying thank you to the mod author. Also, of course, yes, as an added thank you, I will leave the link to the mod in the pinned comment below, as well as a list of other mods that I use to complement the modded class. We'll be saving separate videos for multi-classing modded classes together with each other, or even with vanilla-based classes to really see what kind of synergies we can create, and yes, of course, break the game. I'm already thinking about some of the wild combinations this subclass could pair well with, like Circle of the Storm Druids modded class, which yes, that's another video I would highly recommend you checking out on my channel in the playlist as well. Now, without further ado, let's get into the first level of this build. At starting level, to be lore friendly to Santa Claus, we're going to choose human, but we're going to enhance our human features with the variant human mod, which adds race passives for us to choose from, and there is a lot to actually pick when it comes to not just this build, but other class builds that we'll showcase in the future too. Fast Hands grants us an additional bonus action in combat. The description seems basic, but also this could potentially turn into an extra attack for us, really utilizing and maximizing our damage output, but also we can justify this lore-wise by saying that Santa has to be fast, quick in and out before getting caught by kids or their parents. Elkheart is a passive feature. While raging, you can use Primal Stampede, and your movement speed increases by 4.5 meters. Primal Stampede, dealing 47 bludgeoning damage, charging forward, attacking all enemies in the way, and possibly knocking them prone for 2 turns. 2 turns is pretty strong at starting level 2, and the fact that your enemies are going to be lying flat on their ass means you're going to have opportunities and advantages to dish out additional damage while they're still getting up. Also, we can just justify this feature as instead of Elkheart, you can say Reindeer Heart or something like that. I mean, Santa has 12 reindeer, including Rudolph. And the other passive feature being Wrath of the Storm. As a reaction, strike back at an attacking creature dealing 2d16 lightning damage or 2d16 thunder damage. The target takes half damage on a successful saving throw. This is a fun and cheeky way to dish damage back on enemies, but also you could justify this lore-wise by saying that Santa is dishing out punishment to those on his naughty list. It would be nice if we had the option of cold damage as well though. As for the background for Santa Claus, it's only right that he's listed as a folk hero, and yes, he is a legend for so many of us, plus also it gives skills that are thematic to him too, with survival, and also animal handling. I mean, all things considering, you need to have some pretty good animal handling to handle all those reindeer, including especially Rudolph. As for the ability point allocation, most of it is going to go into strength, as it'll be justified as Santa raging against everyone on his naughty list, and believe me, it's a pretty long naughty list with all the enemies on here. Wisdom will be our second highest because that is our spellcasting modifier, which we'll be relying on for our cold and ice spells, with some of our points being taken from charisma and intelligence and poured back into constitution and dexterity for health and dodging purposes. With the skill proficiencies for our very buff Saint Nick being athletics, animal handling, perception, seeing who's being naughty or nice, survival, in the cold, and persuasion to get people to actually be good during Christmas. At level 2, not much to be said here other than the vanilla class features of Danger Sense, giving us advantage on dex saving throws against traps, spells, and surfaces, and also Reckless Attack until your next turn, advantage on attack rolls, but enemies also have advantage against you. Level 3 is when things actually start really getting interesting and we do get subclass features as well. At level 3 as a Storm Herald, we gain the subclass feature of Storm Aura. When you enter Rage, you emanate a stormy aura that has effects dependent on your chosen Storm Aura element. For the thematic of the build, we're going to choose Cold for this one. Snowstorm will be our Raging Storm feature. When the effect is activated, you and your allies in your aura gain 1d4 temporary hit points as icy spirits inure it to suffering. The temporary hit points increase when you reach certain levels in this class, increasing to 2d4 at 6th level, 3d4 at 9th level, and 4d4 at 12th level. At level 4, the feat choice I would choose would be Ability Improvement, putting a point into Strength and also a point into Wisdom. Strength primarily for damage output, and Wisdom to increase our spellcasting potential, and yes, of course, damage output from that as well. At level 5, we gain the extra attack feature, and also fast movement with our speed increasing by 3 meters while not wearing heavy armor. At level 6, we gain the class feature of an extra Rage, and also a subclass feature of Storm Soul. You gain benefits from your Storm Aura even when your Rage isn't active. These benefits are dependent on the Storm type chosen for your Raging Storm. With Snowstorm, you gain resistance to cold damage, gain heavy armor proficiency. Heavy armor no longer impedes your rage. Moreover, you gain the spell Howling Blast as an action, which can be used while raging. The creature must succeed on a Constitution saving throw. If failed, it takes 2d4 cold damage and is stunned for 1 turn. It takes half as much and is not stunned on a successful save. Level 7, we gain Feral Instinct. You have honed your instincts to the utmost degree and gain a +3 bonus to initiative and can't be surprised. At level 8, the feat I would choose here would be Fighting Initiate, specifically 2-weapon fighting to complement the fighting style for this character build, especially with the legendary weapons too. When you make an attack with your offhand weapon, add your ability modifier to the damage of the attack. At level 9, we gain Brutal Critical. You're trained to strike swift and true. When you land a critical hit, you roll an extra damage die as well as the normal additional critical dice. At level 10, we gain the Shielding Storm feature. Your mastery of the storm has increased, allowing you to protect others with Storm Soul while inside your Storm Aura, granting them the same resistance as your storm provides you. At level 11, we gain Relentless Rage. Once per short rest, if you drop to 0 hit points while in rage, you regain 1 hit points instead of being down. At level 12, we gain an additional Rage and also Raging Storm. The power of the storm you channel continues to grow, lashing out at your foes. The effect is based on your chosen Storm Aura. Specifically with Snowstorm, whenever the effect of your Raging Storm is activated, you can choose 1 creature you can see in the aura. That creature must succeed on a Constitution saving throw. If failed, it takes 4d6 cold damage, its movement speed is reduced to 0 for the turn, or half as much on a successful one, and speed is not reduced. Also, I forgot to say what feat to choose at 12th level. For me personally, I like choosing Tough, granting us retroactive hit points from the previous levels and giving us a whopping 137 total hit points to really be the tank of our party. Alright friends, when it comes to equipment and weapon choices here, we're really going to lean into cold damage because it really fits with the holidays, winter theme, and just overall jolly Christmas spirit. For the headpiece, I like using the Frigid Adept hat, granting Frigid advantage on attack rolls against chilled creatures, arcane enchantment, +2 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls, plus we get Wall of Ice, a level 6 evocation spell dealing 20 to 120 cold damage, raise a wall of solid ice, Cloak of Frigid Adept, Frigid Retaliation. When a creature deals damage to the wearer, the creature takes 3 to 12 cold damage and creates a surface of ice beneath you. Android Caster. Cantrips targeting foes and allies can target an additional creature. Same target can be chosen twice. And also we gain Ice Storm, dealing 10d6 cold damage. Impel a storm of hail and ice to crash from the sky, covering the ground and striking all objects and creatures within range for a total of 2 turns, causing an ice surface as well, knocking enemies prone and making it a difficult surface as well. I also like the main piece being the Frigid Adept Robe, Frigid Mastery. When the wearer deals cold damage, it deals an additional 6 cold damage. Magical Armor. The AC of this armor is based on your armor proficiency, dex, and level. If you have max armor or heavy armor proficiency, extra +2 in that AC. We also gain Armor of Vorgol, gaining 30 temporary hit points and dealing 30 cold damage to any creature that hits you with a melee attack, stacking on top with our Wrath of the Storm. That is very much going to help out with our tanking and solo fighter potential as well. Frigid Adept Gloves grants us Frigid Strikes. Whenever you deal cold damage, the target needs to succeed on a Constitution saving throw or become chilled for 3 turns. Quicken Spell Fingers, cantrips that cost an action cost a bonus action instead. This effect can be used once per short rest. And also, we gain the Cone of Cold spell, 9 to 72 cold damage. Make a flurry of frost, crisp air, and condensed snow crystals erupt from your hands. Frigid Adept Boots grants us Frigid Acuity whenever you deal cold damage. Gain Frigid Acuity for 2 turns, which means an affected entity has a +1 to its attack rolls and spell difficulty class per turn remaining. Icy Step is what I really love here for this feature. Teleport to an area and deal 3 to 12 cold damage where you land. Impact Blast spreads in a 3-meter zone. This is what I call making an entrance. The jewelry pieces also provide us cold theme damage as well. With Frigid Adept Amulet, we gain Frigid Healing. Whenever you deal cold damage, heal yourself 3d4 hit points. Also, we gain Frigid Missile, which is basically like Magic Missile. Ring of Frigid Explosions grants us the ability of whenever we deal cold damage, you create an explosion of an icy surface around the target. And also, yes, we gain Frigid Eldritch Blast, basically reflavored Eldritch Blast to cold damage. Frigid Adept Ring, ignore resistance and immunity to cold damage. In addition, when you deal cold damage, you cannot roll a 1, and we gain Frigid Bolt, dealing 3 to 30 massive damage, which is pretty powerful for a cantrip. As for the main weapon pieces, we're going to be using modded weapons Icebringer and Frost Reaper. Both have Frozen Heart. Attacks from this weapon ignore cold damage resistance and inflicts chilled for 2 turns. When targeting a chilled opponent, your attacks gain advantage, and the requirement for a critical hit on your attack rolls is reduced by 1. And also, with the Blades of the Fallen Prince mod, while wielding both Frost Reaper and Icebringer, each of the weapons additionally decreases your critical hit attack roll requirement by 1. Upon successfully hitting a target, your main hand weapon regenerates a 1 bonus action, and your offhand weapon regenerates a level 1 spell slot. They work literally hand in hand together and are very much devastating on the battlefield. We also gain the Pillar of Frost class action ability. With Pillar of Frost, the power of Frost empowers you. Your cold damage is increased by your strength modifier. Each spell rune spent while Pillar of Frost is active further increases your strength by an additional 1 up to 10 stacks for a total of 3 turns. Alright friends, that has been my character showcase of Path of the Storm Herald and also Angry Santa Claus. I hope this is a kind of build that you really enjoy for the winter festivities and holidays, and also let me know in the comments your thoughts on my choices for the level features and also the choices in spell selection and gear too. Also, let me know if you would build this character differently with the class that was featured as well. I always love hearing different kinds of opinions from everyone within the community. And also, for the new and returning viewers who have watched this whole way through, thank you so much for your time. And also, I'd love to have you join us on more adventures, whether it's Baldurs Gate, Warhammer, or in the near future, Elder Scrolls related too. Until then, take care, farewell, and happy holidays, my friends.